Hello and welcome to the Responsive Family Sleep Podcast. I'm your host, Kim Hawley, holistic sleep coach, lactation consultant, peaceful parenting educator, and mom. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by all the conflicting sleep info, frustrated with sleep information that just plain felt wrong, or searched desperately for a truly gentle and responsive sleep approach, then you are in the right place. In each episode, we'll be answering your most pressing baby and toddler sleep questions, busting those sleep myths, and helping you understand truly developmental, biologically normal baby and toddler sleep, plus encouraging you to trust your intuition along the way. Let's get started. Hello, Happy New Year. Gosh, I can't believe it's 2026. That is just absolutely wild to me. I'll be honest, 2025 was a really hard year for me personally, and so I am really looking forward to a year with less stress, a little more calm, a little more ease, and I hope that you have some good hopes for your 2026 that you are looking forward to, and if one of them is more rest, of course, I hope the podcast is helpful in that, and I'm always here to support you. But since this episode is releasing on January 1st, I thought it would be a great way to kick off the new year with a From the Archives throwback episode about how to get sleep back on track after the holidays. Holidays tend to be a chaotic time. Things slip a little, things get off routine. And whether you are listening to this on New Year's Day, or sometime over that first week or so of January, I hope you have some good ideas on how to get things back on track, right? Into more of a rhythm, and get the year started off with sleep headed in a better direction. And I also just want to give you that permission and encouragement to define what that means to you, right? Define what you want sleep to look like, how much energy you want to put into making changes, or leaning into whatever is easiest. There is not a right or wrong answer. And so just encouragement to define your own version of sleep goals and sleep success in the new year. Hello, Happy New Year. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited for this episode and to start a new year on the podcast. I thought, what better topic than the question I get most often in early January: how do we get back on track after all the holiday disruption? Now, it's January 2nd when this podcast is being released. I have one kid who is not back in school yet, and one kid who went back to school today. So we are in the between with even being ready to be back on our normal with big kids. So that's where we are at in my family after traveling over the holidays. But whether you are really ready to sort of bring some order to the holiday chaos, or you're not quite there yet, Kim, I'm going to save this episode and listen to it next week, I hear you. I have been there many times over in both of those positions. So what do you do, right? Holidays come with sleep disruptions. That's a given. And I think the sooner that we just accept it, realize it, embrace it, figure out what's important to us and move on, the better. And then know that we can get things back on track after the holidays. So I think the first thing to do is take stock and figure out, where are you at right now, right? Is it that all your routines kind of fell apart? Is it that bedtime got really, really late? Is it that you're suddenly skipping naps or doing a lot of bed sharing when you weren't, or, a lot of carrier naps when you weren't doing, what is it that shifted over the holidays that isn't your norm, and how do you feel about it, right? Because we have to know that before we can even figure out what are we shifting back to. Especially with babies and younger toddlers, it's also worth checking in and being okay, is our old rhythm actually what we want to go back to? Because, the holidays kind of sprawl out over a month plus. And so if you've been kind of off routine for more than a week or two, it's quite possible with a baby or a younger toddler that their sleep needs have shifted enough that it's actually more like where we are now versus getting back to where you were, in early December or in November or whenever it was that things started to kind of go into holiday chaos mode. So first, it's like, what has shifted? And second, it's where are we at? Like, where's my kiddos' needs? Have they shifted as far as, nap schedules and sleep times and how long they're able to be awake before they need to go to sleep? Do they, is their old rhythm the right fit anymore? So in order to do this, it can often be helpful to simplify our January, or at least the first part of January. Why is this? Well, first is like we have to be in our normal routine to get back into our normal routine, right? And we have to be in that normal routine to see if there needs to be some shifts in sleep timings or nap schedules or any of that. And if we're automatically going and doing a bunch of traveling and visiting and doing all the things in January, we're not giving our kiddo a chance to get back into a routine. So we need a few weeks of calm, or the month of calm, whatever feels like a better fit, to like assess where we're at and what we need to work on, and then get back into a routine and figure out where our kiddos' sleep needs are at the moment. And so if your sleep times have shifted, let's say really late, or something funky's been going on, then we need to start gradually shifting back, right? If we had a toddler that we suddenly are letting stay up till 10 and sleep in because we were visiting family or, whatever, that worked better, we're not going to just go back to having an 8 p.m. bedtime, right? We have to work it back slowly for them to be able to adjust. Or maybe that's working it back because of travel and time differences, right? We could be off rhythm because of that as well. Same goes if, where we were doing naps or where we were sleeping is very different than our norm and we want to get back to our norm. We might be able to just go back to their old location, right? That if that's a pretty strong established routine for them. But we also might need to break it down into smaller steps if they are struggling with getting back to the norm. Another piece that I see really goes off the rails during the holidays is the normal bedtime routine and just general evening flow. And so if that was well established before the holidays, then it could just be a simple, what was our evening flow that worked for us? Let's get back into that. And then once we're back into that evening flow, let's see if there needs to be any adjustments, right? Because our baby's a bit older, right? Maybe they need more big body play. Maybe they need a little bit of a longer routine, or maybe we're just fine and it's still working great. And if you didn't have an evening routine because your baby was really young, or just because you didn't yet, and you're like, I really want sleep to be a bit more intentional in the new year, then this is a great time to start thinking about the evening routine, right? And I'm intentionally saying evening routine here because it's so much more than just the bedtime routine, right? It's our connection time. It's our big body, get our sillies out, get our wiggles out sort of play. It's calming everything down. It's the predictable bedtime routine. It's the sleep hygiene, the dimming of the lights and all the things that set up bedtime, to be in a good place. And that predictability, if you already had the evening routine, is really grounding, right? It can really help a kiddo kind of get back into their flow. And then, of course, if you didn't, forming routines takes time, right? They don't become a routine overnight. We're essentially habit forming to a certain extent here. But it can be a really nice way to start off the year with a bit more intention in how we're approaching sleep. A lot of getting back on track after the holidays is really getting back to the basics, right? What is your normal daily pattern? Are you having good sleep hygiene? Are you having good rhythms and routines? Right? Are you taking the time to connect as a family? Right? And are we giving all of this the time and the consistency to get back on track? It's January 2nd. You're not going to be back on track on January 3rd or 4th or 5th, right? If you've been traveling a lot over the holidays. You need to give it a week or two, right? In order to settle in, make some adjustments, and then settle into that routine that's really going to be working for you. So this doesn't have to be a big deal. It can be subtle, easy things. It's just a reminder to be patient, right? And consistent, and not to overload this time with so much stuff that you aren't able to do these things. And if you're doing it for the first time, of course, it's going to be a bit more because you're not returning to something you're building right from the beginning. And that can be really fun as well. So keeping it pretty short for today. I'm here if you need support, kind of bring some order to the chaos, bringing some intention into this new year. And I hope this was just the right nudge and gentle reminder that you have, what it takes to get yourself back on track in the new year. And that is either all the information in this podcast, in my blogs, or me reaching out, getting more support. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this episode left you feeling more informed, confident, and encouraged on your sleep journey. And just a reminder before you go that nothing in this episode is individualized to your specific sleep situation, nor is it to be taken as medical advice. Take what resonates, ignore what doesn't, and check with your healthcare provider about any medical concerns. Take a moment to subscribe to this podcast so that you'll never miss an episode. And take a moment to rate, review, or share an episode you love on social media. All of that helps parents just like you find me, this podcast, and this gentle and responsive sleep information. I'll see you next time.